ultimately, at the end of the day, it's evident to say no matter who you are in life, no matter how good looking you are, how much money you have, how much time is on your side, eventually it all keeps up and it all catches up with you. And I think that is the point. That is the point of to which God puts in. That's why God did this in the first place, to show us and to humble us and to show him what he had to go through. And that is a hard pill to swallow. A very hard pill to swallow, especially as a young man. A very hard pill to swallow because myself, like many, have aspirations to do many things and to love many people and to love as if there are no more days left on the planet, and to showcase emotion and to showcase what is real and what is human and what it means to be human. But obviously today, many ways it's easy, many ways it's more difficult, many ways it's more easy, but it's kind of, we're getting conditioned to not be human in many ways. Or if we are being conditioned to be human, we're as a collective, we're doing the wrong things and we're following the wrong trends, and we're not listening to our heart, because when we listen to our heart, we're also listening to our mind. I find that too. A revelation I had recently is, if we're able to, people usually think that it's either one or the other, but in reality, what your heart wants is what your mind wants too. So how this segues into this is the notion that as a collective today, myself included, especially myself, we're always vacillating on what we want to do and how do we get past the things that we know stand in our way, and how do we grow from things that we were once were that we no longer want to be. That is the most difficult part. That is the most difficult part. But God reminds us, Jesus Christ reminds us, that we have to take up our own cross too, and it will be the most difficult thing that we will ever do, taking up our own cross. Alone. Not alone with Jesus Christ, but alone from other people that we've known. Alone from other people that we've loved, that we are going to love. We take up our crosses alone. With God, of course, but from a human perspective, we don't do that with others. And that's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing about growing old too. Taking up your cross by yourself, especially when you're used to other people taking it up for you. And the issue is, we don't even know which one to take up. But I think that's the struggle. That's the everyday struggle, and the issues that I had were the issues that people had hundreds of years ago, and they're gonna have this 100 years from now, when I'm no longer here, and hopefully my many children and grandchildren populate the planet. But I guess what I'm coming to terms with, unfortunately, is for many people, and the fairy tale just doesn't exist anymore. And I think for me, I'm having a very difficult time in accepting that reality for myself. You see the people around you, and you know they can be doing better in many facets, and more so than getting mad, you become more so, it saddens you. It saddens you astronomically to see the people that you love suffering and tripping over the same rock over and over and over and over and over again, right? But over time, you realize that this is life, unfortunately. You think that when you're younger, when I was younger at least, you think that people learn from their mistakes. And we do sometimes. We learn sometimes from our mistakes. But, you know, I believe rather, not I think, but one of the craziest things about life is if you have the vision to see and the intuition to feel, you can feel your life essence slowly, if you're very careful, slowly dissipating from you. Like entropy, right? It's like cleaning your room. If you don't clean your room, it's not going to clean itself. It's only going to get messier. Our life force and our passions and the look we have in our eye, I notice that it dissipates as we grow older. Because as a child, we don't have to worry about those things. They just come to us naturally. And that is the burning question. That is the burning issue. How do we get that spark back? How do we do it? Especially when everyone around you doesn't feel so hot. And that's what I'm dealing with now, right? Back to the notion of a fairy tale. If or when we start noticing these things, that the people around us are not as upbeat, or they're losing the flame, or they're going through hard trouble, the best thing, I think, the most expensive thing on the planet is genuinely being there for them and caring about someone. That is hard. That is very difficult to find. A friend, platonically, a family member, if you're lucky, a very pretty girl that genuinely cares about you and wants to help you regardless of your situation. That is priceless. The most expensive things are priceless. And forgive my stream of consciousness rambled, but that's it. The most expensive things are free. And sometimes we think we give away our most expensive things for free, but that's not. We can get them back. We can get them back. It's possible. But we have to try very hard, and sometimes it takes a long time. But we can get them back, especially when we feel like people stole that from us. But we can get it back. But we need to have heart. We need to be brave, and we have to be smart in many facets. But God makes us apparent. The expensive things are free. God makes us very apparent. And at the end of the day, we all know what to do. We know what to do. It's just remembering. That's the hardest part. We forget so much that we can't. We forget so much. We forget to write it down. We forget to document it. We forget to recall it. That we fall back into the things that we once were. It's a very heavy feeling. For me personally, it's one of the heaviest feelings. But we're able to be better. We're able to innovate. We're able to create. God has given us that ability. That's what it means to be human, to innovate, to create, to do more, to breathe, to walk, to feel, to love, wholeheartedly. And again, it's a matter of remembering, but if we can remember to be ourselves, if we can remember to love, if we can remember to do what is correct, if we remember to love correctly, then we're able to live again after what feels like an eternity of not living. But this feat is very difficult because this takes a lifetime of remembering, a lifetime of praying, a lifetime of believing. Because the most expensive things are free. And maybe it comes full circle. And finally, it makes sense. Of course, it always makes sense, but it makes sense to my feeble mind that is a religion. That is what God promotes. The most expensive things are free. You have to have hope. You have to have hope. Maybe that's the entire point. That is the entire point. You can't see what is not there, so you don't believe. But for many years, we have failed to remember that most of the things that we feel, we can't see either. We have to have hope. We have to put our faith in God. We have to put our faith in beautiful things. We have to remember. It's the hardest part of remembering, because you can be on fire now. Your synapses could spark now. But then come tomorrow, you wake up at 4 in the morning. You're exhausted. You miss someone that you love very much. You miss, whether that's a friend you haven't seen in a long time, or a very beautiful girl that's on your mind, or maybe even your mother that's not there anymore. You forget, and we fall back into the same old things. But we know what's right and what's wrong. We have to remember to have hope and to live as if every day is our last day on the planet, because every day is our last day on the planet. If we're able to see with new eyes, if we're able to see with a creative color, if we're able to innovate, that's the hardest part, because that's the hardest part, remembering that. Because we're thrown so many distractions. We're thrown so many distractions, but it's fine. It's never too late for anything. We're here for a blink of an eternity. We can't focus on things that aren't godly, and that's another thing that I forgot to mention. Once you start living with Christ within you, right, it's the hardest change, because people, not even people, that's besides the point. You can no longer live in this world. You can no longer live in this world. If you genuinely want to be a godly person, a godly man, a godly woman, a godly child of God, we have to change our ways, because we know it doesn't cut it. We know it doesn't cut it for God. God said, not one man is good. Not one. If that is the case, which God never lies, we have to at least strive our best to be like Him. But that's the hardest part, because there's so many ways. It's so easy to not be like Him. It's so easy to remember what not to do. It's easy to sin. It's very easy to sin. But if I remember anything in these last few years, the most expensive things are free. The most expensive things are free. And if we're able to live in that fast, to be honest with our world, to be honest with our word, to be honest with the people around us. That's the hardest part, because you don't want to do it sometimes, I know. But with time, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Just do the right things. Oh my God. Do the right things. Set up the right systems. The rest will follow. Because if we don't, then what are we living for? We're not living for anything. What else is there to live for? What else is there to live for? Genuinely. I don't know. What do I have to live? Why am I living? Like, what are... But, as long as we have passion to be better, we have courage, because courage is not a thing that comes natural. It's actually one of the most unnatural things to have courage. It actually goes against the way we were. It goes against our evolution, really. Bravery is. It's only brave because we shouldn't be in those situations from an evolutionary standpoint. But that's besides the point. You'll be fine. Slow down. Breathe. Take your chances. Take your chances is the most important thing. That is the most important thing. And in the grand scheme of everything, it doesn't matter if you're the prettiest girls on the planet. If you are the prettiest girl on the planet, if you have time on your side, if you're the man that has the most money on the planet, God set it up in this way to humble us, to remind us to be there for our fellow man, to love each other, just to be in this moment now because of what He's giving us this moment, and this moment is the most beautiful thing that we have, that we will ever have. And the people around us, the infinitesimal chance that we have of being around us, for them to be around us in our vicinity, where we live, where they live, it's very, very slim. Appreciate them while you have them. You'll be fine. Be there for the people you love. Stand up for yourself. And take chances, especially when everyone tells you not to. And even if it all fails, it'll be worth more than anything. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Take your chances. Oh my God. More importantly, as a man,